Hi, I am absolutely delighted to welcome today with us Nick Piazza, who is founder and CEO of SP Advisors. Nick, it is great to see you. How are you doing?
Good, good. Good morning, Andy. How are you?
Good. We're here in
Good, me
Kiev.
too.
You're on the other side of the Atlantic. How have you been coping for the last 240 odd days?
Yeah, well, I was just telling my wife the other day, as a guy that usually gets on a plane at least once or twice a month, it's been really weird to kind of be positioned in one place. I think for us, the COVID experience kind of showed that it's better to be lucky than to be smart. If you remember, kind of things kicked off in March, and that's kind of when we have our annual meeting, and we have kind of a retreat, an offsite in Florida. So we were in Florida, and we were in the process of moving offices. So we'd already said, look, hey, we're going to go to Florida for a couple weeks. Why don't we move out of our office and we'll work from home, and then when we get back we'll get moved into the new office and everything. And while we were in Florida, that's when everything got shut down. So we were already positioned to work from home, and I ended up just staying here because we thought Wyoming, as a state that's almost as big as Ukraine with only about 400,000 people, it would be kind of a better spot to sit this out. But now, as we see everywhere, is kind of facing this on the same level. So hopefully, we're hopeful
Okay.
that by spring, what we see going on with vaccines, that roughly March of next year, we should be getting back to a bit more of a normal.
Yeah. I think we had the Pfizer announcement last week, the Moderna announcement today. So,
Right.
we're on track, and it's looking good, the pharmaceuticals. So, but in terms of, I think, it's fascinating that you started working from home before we all did.
Right. Like I said, just
A
total good
couple of
luck
weeks
move.
head start. But I mean, how have you found that? What effects it had on the business?
I actually think we're more efficient. I love our Ukrainian clients, but they tend to be face-to-face meeting guys. So I was zipping around town constantly, but I think actually it's been a good experience for all of us, because I think we've moved away from meetings that could have been emails, away from meetings that could have been conference calls, and really focused on quality time when we meet. And obviously, I miss those meetings. It's always nice to sit in Velour or the Hilton or wherever and have a nice lunch and catch up. There's a lot of things that happen in face to face, but I think honestly, when we look at our numbers and what's been going on, we feel like we're a little more streamlined, a little more efficient, um, in terms of client contact and actual business processes, because we don't get bogged down waiting for a face-to-face meeting as much. Um,
Okay.
so we've been happy with that. And I also think, just in general, when I look at my clients, a lot of them don't want to meet right now, right? So we've saved a lot on travel and things like that. So I think, as a consulting company, we've been pretty lucky. I think this kind of new COVID norm has been good, and as I think you see with a lot of businesses, I think especially like our back office, accounting, people that aren't client facing, I don't know how much time I'm going to demand of them to be in the office anymore, because it just doesn't. I think we were kind of, it was trial by fire, and now we've already learned that we can work from home. I think more the pushback now is kind of similar for me. I think everybody's a little sick of sitting around with their family at home. Everyone would like to get back to water cooler talks in the office, but in terms of it actually driving business, we have not been massively harmed by it, I would say.
Okay. Well, just for our viewers to say, I mean, in terms of the services you provide, just I know it's helping sort of businesses set up and operate in the US, but just give us a brief overview of what is it, the services that you're offering.
Sure. So we have our consulting business, and we also have what we're calling kind of our America business. So the American business is we're basically a business administrator. We have a licensed company that administers business services. So we can set up LLCs, trusts, foundations, funds, And we've basically, what we see is a lot of people moving away from kind of classic offshores and kind of questionable banking districts and looking for quality. And as it turns out, the U.S. is probably one of the strongest banking markets. So we've had quite a run over the course of this year of new clients. I think we've almost doubled in size as people look. And again, we're not calling ourselves an offshore. We're saying, look, this is an alternative, right? The world is changing. You're probably going to have to pay some tax somewhere. But if you're going to choose a jurisdiction to kind of hold your assets, we feel that the U.S. is one of the safest. So we've been working on that. Plus, that business has kind of led to a number of other smaller projects for our consulting business. A lot of people that are looking for investments in the U.S. or to expand their business into the U.S., sell product in the U.S. So we've been doing a lot more of that lately. But we still do our kind of classic investment banking as well. It's obviously not as active in this period of COVID, but we are working on an OPIC project to help attract financing to Ukraine. We're working on a couple of mergers, so we're still doing our kind of classic stuff. But that's generally us in a nutshell.
Cool. I think it's just the agility and being able to adapt. I think that's just so important. So this series of videos is called leadership in times of crisis. I mean, what is leadership in times of crisis?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been lucky as kind of a businessman. Well, I guess depends on how you see it, but I went through the war in Georgia. I think we all probably went through the revolution in Ukraine. So, I think a lot of us in this market,
more than one.
Right. A lot of us in this market understand that every 3 to 5 years there's going to be some kind of turnover, some kind of upheaval, some kind of big change, and those that can move quickly and adapt to it generally do better than the others. And we've had to change our business model probably 3 or 4 times since I started working here. So I think this came and we were like, well, what's the market going to need from us? And that's what we're always looking for, right? And we're a smaller team, and we don't have a factory where we're making something. It's a consulting business, so we're very lucky in that sense. But we generally tend to drive our services towards what our clients need. And one of the things that's really grown, like I said, is kind of this work in America. America probably 5 years ago was not a very kind of Ukrainian active place. Whereas now, with all the kind of investment from the US and political support that I hope will be back again with the new administration, people are looking at the US, they're sending their children to the US. We have a crop of Ukrainian business owners that's probably in that age group where their kids are going to college, where they're thinking about retirement, how to structure their business for the long term. And we've been lucky because we've been able to kind of catch that group as they kind of think about what's next in life.
Brilliant. So what would your one message be to the members of the AmCham here in Ukraine?
Look, I guess there's probably 2 things I'd like to say. First of all, the number one thing is I think, business kind of tends to show me that if you're persistent and if you're quick to retool in times of turmoil, you have a good shot at kind of pulling through these things. And often these kinds of situations can be successful. So, I think people that get too down tend to miss those opportunities. So I'd say kind of chin up and think about America as a lot of members are probably thinking, that have businesses, have holdings, have investments. We'd be happy to talk with you. There's a lot of options that jurisdiction provides, especially when you consider that some of the biggest banks in the world are there, and they do business all over the world. So we've had a lot of success with that.
Brilliant. I think that's crystal clear and a great message. So thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick Piazza, the founder and CEO of SP Advisors. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for everything you do, in terms of making, Ukraine a better place, and also, giving, lots of Ukrainian companies and international companies the opportunity to also, do business in the US. So thank you for that. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I hope to see you this side of the Atlantic one day pretty soon. And all the best. Thank you, Nick. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks a lot, Andy. There's just one last thing I'd like to say. Looking forward to getting back over to Ukraine probably in the new year. But one of the things we've done is we invested in a ski resort over here in Wyoming. And we're just about to launch this week. So I'd also like to mention to members, if you're looking for a unique skiing experience, let us know. We can hook you up over here in Wyoming.
Well, there you go. It doesn't get better than that.
We got to get you over and get you on the skis.
Brilliant. Well, we look forward to it. Thank you, Nick. Stay safe and see you soon. Bye.
You too. Take care.